I made a video explaining about my simple life. I do that because I don't want to work. And then someone said, who takes care of you? And I said, my husband. And she said, well, I bet he works, with a laughing face. Then somebody else commented calling me lazy. So let me tell you a little bit about how I got here. When I met my husband, I was a single mom living on child support. I had 2 small kids. When I met my husband from Canada and he moved here, I sponsored him for his green card. I had to go get a job, and I worked full time for about 5-6 years. And these were the hardest times of my life. When I moved to Los Angeles, because where I lived, there weren't any jobs that paid over $10 an hour, and I couldn't find anything more than part-time. I was living kind of in the middle of nowhere. So we moved to LA, and the jobs that I found were minimum wage jobs because I didn't have experience. They didn't pay much. These jobs worked me to death. I worked during the pandemic when people were getting laid off and it was very hard to find a job. So I had to stay put where I was. I had to bike because I sold my car and I bought a bike. I biked 14 miles a day to work in the rain, in the winter. Some days, because we were so short-staffed, people would call in or whatever the reason was during the pandemic. I would have to work double shifts back to back, 16-hour days after biking 7 miles there, 7 miles home. I was so stressed out. My nervous system was so shot. I would have to wake up to get to yoga, hot yoga in the middle of winter. One, because I was so cold, riding my bike in the winter, 40-degree weather. I needed to heat my bones because I was so cold, and to release some of the stress. Sometimes I was the only person working. I was working at a restaurant. We didn't have sit-down dining because it was the pandemic. We were short-staffed. Business was low. I'd have to do everything. I'd have to do the cashier. I'd have to run the food. I'd have to make the smoothies and salads and everything, right? Clear the tables, all of that by myself. And there was no one to break me. So I would work 16-hour days with no break. And then I'd have to bike 7 miles home at midnight from downtown Los Angeles. I did this for 2 years. Then I got a job at a yoga studio because it was closer, and I just couldn't work downtown anymore, and I couldn't bike 14 miles a day anymore. It was wearing down on me, the rain and the winter, and because we had some rainy winters. When I worked at the yoga studio, I loved working there. I loved the people, but it was so fast-paced. It was so busy. The busiest hot yoga studio in Beverly Hills. And when I say we had to clean, we made a janitor's job look easy. We had to clean stacks and stacks of heavy, sweaty mats. We had to clean the rooms. We had to vacuum and mop the entire studio. We had to do loads and loads of towel laundry. I would have to clean the bathrooms, and each bathroom had 6 showers and 6 toilets by myself. So, after 5 to 6 years of working these kinds of jobs, not having a college degree or being able to go get a job somewhere, not having the experience or even the confidence, and then on top of that, I dealt with bosses that were not nice to me, threatened my job, talked down to me. I would leave work crying some days, just so stressed out, you guys. And it took me 2 years to finally calm my nervous system down. Call me lazy if you want, but for me, I don't want to sacrifice my happiness, my peace of mind, and my nervous system. And yes, my husband does take care of me as a man should. I, as a woman, feel that a man should provide for his wife and a family. And we've gone through some tough times. So he's gone through job loss and all kinds of stuff too. He went through a period where he broke his arm, and, he's gone through a lot of stuff even with his green card, but we've both made sacrifices for each other. So this is where I'm at. My husband's okay with it, but I also don't want to put extra pressure on him to have to, support me, buying things that I don't necessarily need. And that's why I live a simple life. That's why I don't spend money on things that I don't necessarily live. It's a simplistic lifestyle. I'm not saying that I won't ever have those things. I'm not saying that I won't ever live in a beautiful home and have lots of money, because I feel like that's what we're working towards. But right now, in this stage of my life, I am at this point where I am working on my purpose. So I don't just sit around all day doing nothing just because I don't work. You see tons and tons of content that I'm pumping out, and you see books. I published 40 books in 2 years. So I'm still working. I'm just not a slave working for someone else. Is my husband doing that right now? Yeah, he's doing that for us because I slaved away for the past 6 years helping him get his green card. So yeah, he's doing that for me now so that I could take a break. And we're both working towards, building a life together. So go ahead, judge all you want. Tell me whatever you want. I don't care.